relating to a 2.6 million cedi loan advanced by a company Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng is the director of. We have details of Notong MP Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa fights CHRAJ for clearing Victor Kusi Boateng of conflict of interest allegations.
Of the CHRAJ report is strange indeed. You have CHRAJ, when you read the report, say that they didn't have documentation.
But lawyer for Victor Kusi Boateng insists there was no proper evidence before CHRAJ that could have led to it arriving at a different conclusion. We have details of that also. Food and Drugs Authority expresses readiness to undergo audits by both local and international bodies to validate its actions regarding the alleged distribution of unwholesome rice to senior high schools.
Public concerns, the FDA is open to audits by qualified local or international bodies to validate all its actions.
We have details as the FDA insists that approvals granted adhere strictly to best practices and regulatory standards. Also, the Electoral Commission says it is fully set and ready to conduct the special voting on December 2 with firm assurance the polls will be held in an atmosphere of peace and transparency.
We are confident that we'll have a successful special voting arrangements on Monday, the 2nd of December. Our officials are in readiness. We have an adequate supply of the ballot papers.
I'll take you live to the EC head office where the chairperson is currently meeting the National Security Task Force ahead of the polls. Also on the campaign show this afternoon, President Akufo-Addo says he's leaving office fulfilled as he points to the free senior high school policy as a tool to propel Ghana into speedy development.
So this policy is not just a political gimmick, it's a developmental initiative. That's it.
And then we'll hit the camp of the NDC where flag bearer John Dramani Mahama is vowing to transform the Western region regarding cocoa, oil and fisheries development plans. We have sports.
Well, former Black Stars captain Stephen Appiah recounts how a fellow Ghanaian, Mohamed Gago, had to fake an injury for him to get his first professional contract.
That and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa Apawu. Many thanks for your company. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Now, this afternoon, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice CHRAJ has faulted the Board of Trustees overseeing the construction of the National Cathedral for failing to take minutes during some meetings on important decisions. There was no minutes of a meeting at which a supposed agreement was reached between the board and JNS Talent Center Limited for the company to advance a loan of 2.6 million cedis, which formed the basis of the conflict of interest allegations against Victor Kusi Boateng, a member of the board. CHRAJ on Monday published its findings of an investigation into the cathedral construction, concluding that the contract was illegally awarded and raised issues of corruption. Well, my colleague Kweku Asante has been looking through that document and joins us in studio once again with details of what we are finding. So, Kweku, what justification, for instance, did the National Cathedral Board of Trustees give for its failure to take minutes at such meetings?
So, CHRAJ itself started in its report by saying that the Commission notes with great concern the informal nature surrounding the processes leading up to the transfer of the money to the National Cathedral by JNS Talent. Administrative lapses at such high positions should not be countenanced. Good corporate governance required that minutes of directors' meetings ought to be taken and kept in minutes book. It goes on to actually quote the Companies Act on this regard. But on the issue of the absence of minutes, the board chair of the National Cathedral Board of Trustees, Professor Poko Nyina, did tell CHRAJ that, quote, documentation on issues involving the National Cathedral of Ghana and JNS Talent Center Limited from January 2020 kindly note it was a normal administrative transaction and was therefore not recorded in the minutes of the board. It was an offer made by JNS Limited which was paid within a short period. Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng himself also told CHRAJ that, quote, our modus operandi is that we agree among ourselves and not to take minutes of directors' meetings.
Interesting. Well, CHRAJ is recommending that these members of the board, which particularly are made up of pastors, we know they've been referred to the OSP for investigation and possible prosecution, but they want them to be trained on corporate governance?
Yes, CHRAJ says all this is very unfortunate and needs to be discouraged, and that the danger of such informality in handling of affairs is evidence in the situation that we currently find. And it says, in light of the foregoing, and in light of the commission taking note of the fact that the board of trustees are all clergymen who may or may not be well versed in corporate governance, the commission recommends that additional capacity building on good governance be organized for the board by credible professional bodies such as the Institute of Directors to synthesize them on good corporate practices.
Thank you very much, Quick Sante. They're giving us update. Of course, he's still looking through that document and will bring us more as and when we get it. Well, the loan of 2.6 million cedis was at the heart of the conflict of interest allegation made against Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng, who has since been cleared of those allegations by CHRAJ. But Samuel Okujeto-Ablakwa is not enthused about that finding, describing the conclusion reached by CHRAJ as strange.
That aspect of the CHRAJ report is strange indeed. You have CHRAJ, when you read the report, say that they didn't have documentation and that they share levels of bad corporate governance. It's shocking that they didn't write minutes. And they even say that the only document they brought to justify that transfer of the 2.6 million was after the fact.
No,
when the money had already been transferred.
But the report says the IFC provided evidence that there was a transfer of 2.6 million from the Reverend's company to the National Cathedral as an interest-free loan. So that really did not amount to a conflict of interest. Don't you think it's about time you apologize to him?
Apologize for what? The double identity scam he engaged in is the government of this issue. Until this expose, who knew in Ghana that he was operating two different identities? Nobody knew. And that is the foundation of this matter.
Okay,
that's the foundation of this matter, and that remember, that is a matter that has been settled by the High Court.
Okay,
read the Human Rights Court judgment on this matter.
That's enough. Tongue MP Samuel Okujeto-Ablakwa there speaking to my colleague Samuel Kujo-Brace on Top Story yesterday. But lawyer for Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng on the same show, Bobby Bansing, has been fighting back, insisting the MP did not provide any evidence before the commission to expect that CHRAJ would have found in his favor.
We all can have different opinions, but we all cannot have different facts. The facts are very clear. You petition that the Prophet Victor Kusi Boateng has two passports, one bearing Victor Kusi Boateng, another bearing Kwabena Adu-Gyamfi. You didn't provide evidence of those passports in your own petition. You petition that he has collected money for doing some work. The evidence showed that he gave a financial assistance at all points in time with the communication between the National Cathedral himself, and he doesn't own JNS. He is only a director of JNS. He doesn't own it. Indicated that they were aware that he's the same person. Letters were written requesting for those. All those facts were there. So there cannot be different facts. At the end of the day, CHRAJ has come up with their conclusion, their findings of fact, which says that all the allegations made against him were not supported by the evidence on record. And I believe that it settles the matter of all the hula baloo that has been made against the personality of the Prophet Victor Kusi Boateng. And this should bring an end to this matter.
You heard there Bobby Bansing is lawyer for Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng. Meanwhile, lawyer and activist Oliver Bakavoma was urging the Ghana Revenue Authority to investigate Prophet Victor Kusi Boateng for money laundering on how the 2.6 million cedis came to be with JNS Talent Limited.
There's a real question for the Ghana Revenue Authority as well to investigate this GNS Talent Center Limited generally, because the way in which the money hits the account, for money which is clearly dormant, as Austin points out, you see on page 146 of the report that the government of Ghana is the one that pays 3.5 million to this company. It's paid on the 23rd of August. Immediately by the 26th of August, you have a request from the cathedral for it to get money from it.
Well, that's Oliver Bakavoma when the discussion on this matter continues. Let me bring in an anti-corruption campaigner, Mr. Vitus Azim. Let's hear his views on this matter. We are grateful for your time here on Midday News. Well, I'm sure that you've been hearing about the findings, or you've had the opportunity to peruse it as well. So far, are you satisfied with the work CHRAJ has done, plus the recommendations that you're seeing for other bodies to do more investigations and possibly prosecute members of the board?
No, I'm definitely not satisfied with the findings of the Commission for Human Rights and Justice. You see, when an investigative body claims that they don't have enough evidence, I'm usually very skeptical about that claim. Because, you see, it's only when the matter gets caught that the judge can say it doesn't have enough evidence. But you are to investigate and provide the evidence. And CHRAJ has powers to order any institution like the banks to provide them with information. If the man got 2.6 million, have they looked at his bank statement for the whole entire year before, to establish that that money was genuinely taken from the man's account, or that he even genuinely earned it and then decided to lend it to the secretariat? And the question is, what is his special interest in lending that money, huge sum of money, at no interest to the secretariat? Is it not because he's executive secretary of the secretariat? So why would you say there's no conflict of interest?
So your dissatisfaction at this point is on the basis of the conflict of interest findings by CHRAJ and not the entire findings, is it?
No, but the other thing is this. For CHRAJ to hold the director is responsible for not taking minutes and leave out the executive secretary, that's another problem. The executive secretary is or should be the secretary to the board, and he should be the one taking minutes of the meetings. And then, if it's not just taking minutes of the meetings, if the board decided that they shouldn't take minutes, it is a duty of the secretary to advise them that it's improper and that they needed to keep records of all their meetings. So I'm surprised that you exonerate the man. Maybe it's only from the named side, but he cannot be exonerated, and then the board of trustees will be held liable.
Okay. Well, now that we know, at least from CHRAJ's findings, is that the construction or the cathedral construction contract was illegally awarded, and they are raising issues about corruption. What do you think going forward should happen to this whole national cathedral issue?
Well, it is good that CHRAJ has referred it to the Office of Special Prosecutor to deal with, because it's responsible for corruption, investigating corruption-related matters. And so when they find enough evidence, then they can proceed to prosecute. That is the way forward. But for now, I think it's too early to draw conclusions on the findings. And for the recommendation that they should train on corporate governance. Look, a bishop is responsible for a large area of his church. I don't want to believe that they don't have any knowledge on corporate governance. These days, the priests in our church, they come out to give statements of account every 6 months. So I wouldn't believe that somebody who has been a bishop, who probably has been in that profession for maybe 20 to 30 years, does not have an inkling about corporate governance. Okay.
We are grateful. Mr. Vitus Azim, there is an anti-corruption campaigner joining us on the CHRAJ findings, on the bit about the conflict of interest and the concerns that have been raised with that particular part of the report. But let's focus on some other stories now. And the Food and Drugs Authority has expressed its readiness to undergo audits by both local and international bodies to validate its actions regarding the alleged distribution of unwholesome food, to validate its actions regarding the alleged distribution of unwholesome rice to senior high schools. While the authority maintains that all approvals granted adhere strictly to best practices and regulatory standards, the FDA emphasizes commitment to transparency and public health safety amidst ongoing scrutiny of the issue. Well, the authority has been under pressure for failing to do due diligence before extending the best before date for over 22,000 bags of rice imported by Lament Africa Limited. Well, this afternoon, the FDA Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Delise Mimidako, has been addressing a press conference. Listen.
Public concerns, the FDA is open to audits by qualified local or international bodies to validate all its actions. I'll repeat. The FDA is open to audits by qualified local or international bodies to validate its actions. We remain steadfast in our commitment to ensuring food safety and protecting public health. Thank you. The FDA follows international best practices for food safety, including use-by dates, which indicate safety, and foods must not be consumed past a use-by date. Expiry date, which indicates both safety and quality. Expired products are unsafe and should be disposed of. best before end dates. This relates to quality and not safety. Foods may lose their flavor or texture, but remain safe if stored correctly. The authority, like other authorities globally, may use accepted regulatory extensions of best before dates following rigorous testing and compliance with storage requirements, and this is in line with international best practices. The FDA also wishes to assure the public that it confirmed the wholesomeness of the consignment of rice in question and gives assurance that with all the other certificates that were submitted from India, from PPRSD, from CSIR-FRI, and concluded that the rice was wholesome before it was released for distribution.
That's the Chief Executive of the Food and Drugs Authority, Delise Mimi Dako, there, justifying the FDA's actions in this whole issue. Well, let's head into the election headquarters now.
Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, Chopbox Technology, a convenient service, German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness and Beauty, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants (CIMA) and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants (AICPA), together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gaps for positive youth development. Syntex Tanks, Air Strong, Air Tough, Potential Real Estate, your trusted partner in real estate. Deluxe Paints, Paints Mu Champion.
And this afternoon, as we prepare for the special voting on December 2, the Electoral Commission is assuring those who will be participating that it will be transparent and fair. According to Chairperson Jean Mensah, ballot and other voting materials are ready for the exercise designated for persons with special duties on election day. Interacting with various security heads at the EC office, Madam Jean Mensah said the special voting will provide avenues to allow the EC to test its readiness for the main elections on December 7.
To date, we've provided the register or the list of persons who are registered on our special voters register to both agencies. And we believe that this has been exhibited on the websites to enable those who registered visit the websites to clarify their voting centers and so on and so forth. So we are confident that we'll have a successful special voting arrangements on Monday, the 2nd of December. Our officials are in readiness. We have an adequate supply of the ballot papers, the indelible ink, the various forms that may be necessary. And of course, the biometric verification devices are also in place to ensure a smooth and seamless special voting exercise. The Commission has recruited close to 210,000 temporary officials across various categories, from returning officers to deputy returning officers, presiding officers, polling assistants in all the 40,900 plus polling stations across the country. And as we speak, they are undergoing extensive training in all the constituencies. We have training undergoing for all the categories of staff. And as a top-up, we have also developed some videos so that once the training, the physical training is done, we will disseminate the videos so that our staff would be able to refresh their memories and, go through the various training programs that they have been provided.
Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Madam Jean Mensah there. My colleague James Aveji is at that meeting, joins us on the line. James, let us in on who and who are actually in this particular meeting.
Well, Emefa, this is between the Election Security Task Force made up of the commanders of the various security agencies, from the military to the immigration customs, led by the IGP George Akufo-Dampare, have been at this meeting together with the leadership of the EC. Just a bit on the EC chair's address. She's been updating us also on the distribution of ballot papers so far. She said about 3 regions out of the 16, are yet to receive their ballot papers, the Northern, Bono, as well as Bono East, and that to be dispatched from Accra this afternoon to those 3 regions, as well as the biometric verification machines. For the election task force, the security task force, they said they are ready, barring the various stakeholder engagement they've been doing these days.
We have been with them every step of the way, every inch of the journey, and we know inside out the work that has gone on to bring us to this point. And as you realized when Madam Chairperson was going through all the processes that we've done so far, every stage of it, we have been there with them, supporting them in carrying out their mandate. And so far, with what you are seeing relative to what has happened in the past, it means we have come that far and we have seen a lot of improvement. So, Madam Chair, you and your team, we are grateful to you. Ghana is grateful to you. Africa is grateful to you.
IGP Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, they're taking us on a quick break here on the Midday News. We'll get back on the campaign show. We're live on Joy 99.7 FM, Hits 103.9 FM in Accra, Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, myjoyonline.com. The Midday News is supported by Petrol Soul Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. We'll return from the break. We have sport, and then we'll be hearing from President Akufo-Addo, who says he is leaving office fulfilled as he points to the free senior high school policy.
We are confident that we'll have a
So this policy is not just a political gimmick, it's a developmental initiative. That's it.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a petrol source station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
Efia, I've been thinking, have you noticed the changes in our community?
Kojo, things are really different now. The MPP has really made a difference.
Exactly. Free SHS, healthcare, new factories. It's like a whole new Ghana.
And don't forget, electricity is so much reliable now. I remember when we used to go days without light.
True. The NPP has done a lot to improve the basics.
Ajua is a beneficiary of free SHS, and now she is in university.
And that's the kind of leadership we need. Someone who is focused on making things better for everyone. But Efia, still there are a lot more to be done for the development of Ghana.
Absolutely, Kojo. The NPP has shown that real progress is possible.
On December 7th, let's vote to keep this positive impact going. Vote number 1 on the ballot. Vote NPP for a better and prosperous Ghana.
The luckiest star 712 # luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah.
Welcome and now for a daily star 712 # and found no regrets. A side comma investors are a striking gold. A comma health workers are a diagnosing luck with precision. A side comma that tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. Say a comma passionate fan on also entering containing a joy. After to the stressor or turning a hard-earned stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now a comma if you say your next big win is right here.
Star 712 #. Luck is everywhere.
Dial star 712 # and join the luckiest winning celebration. From the 1st of July 2024, dial star 712 # to keep buying tickets as a group, individual, or even as a community. Win loads of cash and prizes in the community draw or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with star 712 #. Join the winning streak now.
The luckiest star 712 #. Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Time for sports. Victor.
Hi, Emefa. And former Black Stars captain Stephen Appiah has recounted how fellow Ghanaian footballer Mohamed Gago faked an injury to help him secure his first contract at CHRAJ side Udinese Calcio. The match in question was against Stormgrass in somewhere 2002.
They started the game, 80th minute. Gago Mohamed faked an injury for me to have the chance and have the thrill of the game. I came in 10 minutes to the end of the game. I scored a goal from 25 yards. The next day I saw myself in the newspapers and I called Gago Mohammed. I said, there is an article about me. So I called him. He said, okay, come to the house. I took a bus, went to the house, and he said, the coach said, chiude la porta and non fallo scappare. Close the door and don't let him run away. After 2 days, I signed my first international contract.
Yep, and that's how Stephen Appiah's professional career began.
Well, let me take you to the Ashanti region where President Akufo-Addo has been speaking. He's expressing his satisfaction as he approaches the end of his tenure. He's citing the free senior high school policy as a cornerstone of his administration's legacy.
Last year, vaccine results, the best in the history of Ghana because of the reforms in the educational system. So, two major aspects of education. Now, free SHS policy has been able to address one, access, broadening access, and two, improving quality.
Well, he's been speaking on Hello FM. We'll hear the campaign trail and the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is on a meet and greet tour in the Greater Accra region. Well, he's been to Malata Market. Kenneth Jesse is with the team. Will give us brief updates on this. Ken, what's the Vice President up to?
Well, so the Vice President is expected to campaign in three constituencies today. That is the Ablekuma Central, in Sawem, Adwejuri, and then Ayawaso Central. He's already been to Malata Market in the Ayawaso Central constituency, but will return to meet commercial drivers at Circle and then hold a rally at the Accra Technical Training Center. We're currently at Hebron Prayer Center in the Sawem Adwejuri constituency to call the support of the Christian community, where he's asked the congregants to pray and intercede on his behalf to emerge victorious. We'll be heading to Abusokai, which will be the final destination for today. But of course, his message has been digitalization agenda to transform key sectors of the economy.
That's my colleague Kenneth Jesse with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. My colleague Maxo Agbagba is in the camp of the NDC with John Dramani Mahama in the Western region. Maxwell, what's the former president up to?
Well, he started his day today in the Impor constituency. You remember yesterday during his interaction with the traditional leaders, a Queen Mother for Impor actually cried during that interaction about the underdevelopment in the Western region. Well, today his first port of call was in the Impor constituency itself, where he saw the nature of the road, and he's been speaking about it. He says if the NDC is elected, the party will prioritize the construction of the roads here in this constituency. Yesterday, he ended his tour in CHRAJ, and there he said the NPP is going around telling new recruits in the Ghana Police Service that they will be dismissed if the NDC is elected. He says he wants to point it out clearly that if the NDC is elected, that is not going to happen, and that they are rather going to recruit about 25,000 more police officers into the Ghana Police Service too.
That's my colleague Maxo Agbagba giving us updates on what the former president John Dramani Mahama is up to. And that's it for the campaign show. In wrapping up the midday news, MNJ, there's a lot on social media. What are people talking about?
Well, Emefa, the National Cathedral is trending after CHRAJ recommended the prosecution of the Board of Trustees. People have been sharing their thoughts on it. Let me read these two comments. So, Nampuan says that how does one man's failed promise to God now becomes a burden to the whole nation? Like how? And Sean Ricky also says that politicians in collaboration with men of God, not only did they lie to Ghanaians, they lied to God. God didn't ask for a cathedral. So a lot of people have been sharing their thoughts on it. But away from that, you know the trend on social media about the toy gun issue in Kumasi, they just put out the toy guns and they just, I don't know. But then apart from the toy gun, there is another trend where the women are now putting dolls behind their back. I mean, I don't know. So let me read these two comments.
Let's go. We can let's go. And very demure is also, trending.
The word of the year.
Well, that's it for the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. For our radio audience here on Joy, we have Living Word with Pastor Mensah Otabil. God is doing a new thing. Also on Hits, we'll bring you entertainment news.